What could have changed since that moment?
Rodri! Rattles!
Up to here.
Stride well and shoots! They score! Oh, what a goal! Scores Lewis Scully's first goal for us!
In less than 100 days, Pep Guardiola's team went from being one of the most feared teams in Europe
Not to be! Rodri! Rodri!
to literally causing anxiety attacks for the Spanish coach.
Got a cut and apparently some others.
Yeah. With my finger here, with my nail.
That's one. Which one is enough?
I wanna hurt myself. Yeah.
That is why we set out to investigate this situation. When a team managed by the best coach in the world
Everything will have moments. Be on the pitch, always. I love the club. Let's go.
with a squad worth over $1 billion,
Savinho, dangerous ball in, Haaland's in there and he scored.
falls apart overnight. There are many factors to analyze, and the first factor is simple. This is the first time in history that a Ballon d'Or winner gains credibility for not playing.
Well, a hammer blow of news for Man City with Rodri, their crucial midfielder, set to miss the rest of the season, having been diagnosed with an ACL injury, a crucial ligament injury which he sustained during City's 2-2 draw against Arsenal.
There is no doubt that the Spanish player is the most important player at Manchester City. His value and impact on the team are irreplaceable. This is clear from the numbers. In the 2023 to 2024 season, Rodri did not play in 3 matches, and Guardiola's team lost against Wolverhampton, Arsenal, and Aston Villa. This is because Rodri's responsibilities are much greater than those of any other number 6 in this Manchester City.
Phil had played 4 or 5 games, but no more than that in his best. So how not notice one team that play with a central defender, with a Ballon d'Or, and the best player in the Premier League during all the season? Of course it's difficult. You know, Chicago Bulls won 6 NBA with Michael Jordan, right? So since then, Michael Jordan retired, how many? So we have the problem that we had. And the moment we come back, we'll be strong again. We'll be a good team.
Rodri plays a crucial role as a deep-lying midfielder, serving as the key link in building the team's play. He is the first player to receive the ball from the back and literally sets the tempo for City. His role is vital in providing balance and fluidity when starting attacks, whether by positioning himself between the central defenders in a 3-man build-up or by receiving the ball behind the opposing forwards. In fact, under Guardiola's guidance, he has evolved from being a purely defensive presence to a hybrid who both shields the defense and creates play. This transformation explains how a player in his position managed to score 12 goals and provide 14 assists. Moreover, his goal contributions have come at the most crucial moments for his team. For example, his last-minute goal against Sheffield.
On to Foden, and then hit by Rodri, and City retake the lead! Rodri!
His goal in the match of the century against Chelsea.
Rodri comes in, goal! Might that have won it?
Or his goal against West Ham that secured a Premier League title.
Still they managed to keep them out, not now! Rodri! Rodri's done it again!
In addition, his ability to draw defensive pressure while freeing up his teammates is essential for City to build vertical and diagonal passing lanes, which are key to their dynamic style of play. The absence of the 2024 Ballon d'Or winner in midfield has disrupted the team's tactical and technical setup. Neither Ilkay Gundogan, Mateo Kovacic, Nunez, nor Bernardo Silva are defensive midfielders. None have the physical and athletic qualities needed to fill Rodri's role. We saw what happened when Pep used Rico Williams and Gundogan as a double pivot against Liverpool, which clearly showed how important Rodri is in City's system. His absence results in a loss of balance and fluidity, affecting the quality of the build-up play and the effectiveness of the coordinated movements that define Manchester City's style. As mentioned, Rodri's absence has forced Pep Guardiola to look for alternatives in Gundogan and Kovacic as key figures in constructing the team's play. However, both players have struggled to maintain a consistent pace in advancing the attack, leading to more horizontal passes and reducing the ability to create imbalances in midfield. Tactically, Rodri not only connects the central defenders with the attacking midfielders, but also serves as the main organizer of the play.
But just losing Rodri, I've never seen a team buckle so much losing one player. And I know he was immense, Ballon d'Or winner, but the team have to do more.
His presence facilitates smooth ball circulation, ensuring fast and fluid offensive transitions or secure possession after winning the ball. Without him, City has lost its usual efficiency in organizing its attack and in occupying the spaces between the lines. This allows opponents to more effectively close down the interior areas by playing slow and predictable lateral passes. The lack of fluidity in the build-up has also led to fewer deep passes to key players like Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, and Phil Foden, reducing the team's ability to exploit the inner channels, an essential element for the dynamic and surprising style that once defined Guardiola's side. Now we have to analyze Pep Guardiola's biggest mistake with this Manchester City. This team is in a period of transition. Constant injuries to key players like Kevin De Bruyne and Rodri, the departure of Kyle Walker, and poor performances from some of their usual stars forced the club to spend €200 million to refresh the squad with 4 strategic signings. The first move was confirmed by the Sky Blues this Monday. The signing of Spanish midfielder Nico Gonzalez from Porto for €60 million. He signed a contract for 4.5 years until 2029. In the Portuguese season, he played 29 matches, scoring 7 goals and providing 6 assists. He is seen as the future replacement for Rodri. His strengths include tactical versatility. He can play as a defensive midfielder, as a central midfielder, or even in a 3-defender system. Ball control and vision. These are ideal qualities to complement Manchester City's possession style. Youth and potential. At only 22 years old, he still has a lot of room to grow at the highest level. Although the intensity of the Premier League will be a challenge during his adaptation, his training at Barcelona and the experience he gained in Portugal give him a solid foundation to integrate and make a difference in Pep Guardiola's system. Manchester City is showing clear defensive weaknesses, so they had to strengthen that area. The first new signing was Vitor Rice, a 19-year-old with only 38 career matches. He came from Palmeiras and was bought for €35 million. His signing is a bet on the future and an effort to bring youth and energy to the defense. Similarly, the club also signed Uzbek player Abdukodir Kusanov, who joined from Lens for €50 million. At just 20 years old, Kusanov becomes the first player from his country to play in the Premier League. After an impressive season in League One, the War Machine signed a contract for 4.5 seasons, with an option for 1 more season. This centre-back even made his debut in the team's 3-1 win over Chelsea.
Oh, Kusanov to Jackson, and Madueke! Oh dear, Abdulkadir Kusanov.
Showing his potential and reinforcing the club's focus on young defenders who can add strength and energy to the squad. For both of these players, it is clearly a future-oriented move, as neither of them can fix City's problems right now. Since their arrival, the team has conceded 7 goals in just 3 matches. Clearly, this is not entirely their fault. We will discuss that later. But Pep Guardiola's planning was simply off. The depth he built in the defensive line was not the right approach. However, City did not limit itself to strengthening their defense, as they also made moves on the attack by signing Egyptian Omar Marmoush. The forward sealed his deal with the club after an excellent season at Eintracht Frankfurt, where he scored 20 goals and provided 14 assists in 26 matches. Hailing from Cairo, Marmoush joined City for €75 million. Although Marmoush is seen as a great addition to boost the attack, this move has again brought up the controversial decisions of Pep Guardiola. Many believe that Manchester City should not be looking for offensive reinforcements if they had given proper value to the players already in the squad. It is surprising that players like Julian Alvarez and Cole Palmer, 2 rising talents, have been overlooked.
I'm happy with the squad. So we didn't expect, because I didn't expect Julian was leaving. Well, I didn't expect, I don't know, because he had conversations for a long time ago with other clubs, his agent, so could happen, but at the end always you think maybe he's going to stay, but that didn't happen. And after we saw what we have.
The Argentine has scored 16 goals and given 2 assists this season, earning him a reputation as a true leader at Atletico Madrid, while Cole Palmer has 14 goals and 6 assists, making him one of the most lethal players in the Premier League, especially considering his performance against Chelsea. where the level shown by the Englishman was unforgettable. However, Guardiola's decision to search for external options instead of fully trusting his own squad has been seen by some as a sign of arrogance and has drawn criticism over the club's tactical and strategic coherence. This situation brings us to Manchester City's third major problem. Manchester City's attack in the 2024-25 season has lost some of the versatility that defined it in previous campaigns, becoming more predictable and overly reliant on Erling Haaland's scoring ability. Although the Norwegian striker's individual performance remains impressive, this dependence has limited City's tactical options in attack. Opponents, aware of this weakness, have adjusted their defenses to neutralize him by concentrating their marking in the penalty area and blocking the inner channels. This has reduced the team's ability to create imbalances. This defensive strategy shows in the team's offensive output. In the first half of the season, City averaged 1.6 goals per game in the Premier League and the Champions League, a figure much lower than the 2.4 goals recorded during the same period in the 2023-24 season. In high-pressure matches, Haaland has shown limited involvement inside the opponent's penalty area, revealing his isolation. For example, in a 1-1 draw against Newcastle on matchday 6, the Norwegian striker touched the ball in the box only 11 times. This statistic not only reflects his disconnection, but also highlights the team's inability to create fluid attacking combinations. Overall, focusing mainly on central play has made it easier for opponents to effectively neutralize City's offensive actions.
He's totally right. But the thing is, from my point of view, he's got to be aggressive. You see them, Saliba bullying him. You've seen the size of him. I've seen him, I think it was Dunk a couple of seasons ago, barge him off the ball, really use his strength. But he's not even doing that. That is my concern. I don't expect Haaland to be delicate and do one-touch and two-touch passing because that's not his game. They brought in Mamouche, they sort of played off each other today. He will be more delicate, but I expect him to use his frame more.
On the other hand, the lack of significant contributions from other attacking players, such as wingers or midfielders coming from deeper positions, has reduced the tactical variety in Guardiola's attack. Without these alternative options to spread the threat across different areas, City is forced to rely almost exclusively on Haaland, limiting their choices and allowing opponents to focus their defensive efforts on that key zone. There is no doubt that the Norwegian is extraordinary, but one area for improvement is that he sometimes disappears in important matches. Moreover, his opponents seem to get inside his head, and there are times when the giant Norwegian loses his mental focus. Guardiola once believed that having Erling Haaland meant not having to worry about goals, but the real problem appears when the team depends solely on him. The Norwegian maintains a high scoring average, having scored 19 goals so far, while his closest teammates, Stones, Doku, Matheus Nunes, Kovacic, Foden, and Guardiola, have each managed only 3 goals. This disparity can be explained by several factors. First, the lack of offensive alternatives is clear. Take for example Alvarez, who scored 19 goals last season. In addition, the poor form of some key players like Foden, who was the main reference in the previous campaign, and the long absence of Rodri, along with difficulties for others to stay in top shape, such as De Bruyne, have all contributed to this situation. It's clear that players who were so successful in previous seasons have lost the confidence that once defined them. And the big question remains, how will that confidence be restored? The answer will only come through results, which for now do not seem to be around the corner.
But I'm saying that it's more of a situation where, for the first time, and I mentioned it before, I think he got some of the players in that didn't have the talent of the players that left.
And that brings us to City's fourth problem. Manchester City's 3 goalkeepers, Ederson, Ortega, and Carson, are all over 31 years old, and among the outfield players, 6 have already reached their 30s. This group includes captain Kyle Walker and the 3 main midfielders, Gundogan, De Bruyne, and Bernardo Silva. In a team that is constantly affected by recurring injuries, having a core made up of older players becomes an extra complication when things go wrong. City often plays matches with only 13 or 14 players available, This hinders squad rotation and significantly increases the physical strain on these veterans. These 30-somethings no longer have the physical capacity required to maintain the high pace demanded by the team, worsening tactical vulnerability and compromising performance consistency. This situation poses a significant challenge for long-term planning, where experience clashes with the need to bring in youth and physical freshness to maintain a competitive level. It is impressive that Guardiola did not take this factor into account, as his loss of young talent has been significant. Pep did not fully appreciate the talent and potential of these players, and now they are shining in other teams as global stars and among the best in the world in their positions. We already talked about Palmer and Alvarez, but what about Jeremy Frimpong? He has found his place at Bayer Leverkusen and was vital in winning the Bundesliga last year.
But also of the Premier League that were not there. You never watch City before and said to yourself, they're missing Yaya Touré, they're missing Aguero, they're missing David Silva, they're missing Messi Company. Never, ever. You said, oh, they got unlucky today. This time, lesser players of the one I mentioned, you say they miss Alvarez, they miss Mahrez. And we all know he won Premier League, the Premier League Player of the Year.
This brings us to the most serious tactical issue, the lack of defensive solidity and the constant rotations. During the 2024-25 season, when not in possession, City has lost defensive stability due to the prolonged absence of key players like Ruben Dias, Nathan Ake, and John Stones. This situation has forced Pep Guardiola to use frequent rotations in defense, with up to 11 different central defensive combinations in the first 20 Premier League matches. Overall, the missing players and constant rotations have led to a clear lack of cohesion among the defenders. The defensive organization has suffered greatly. Coordination, spacing, and shared responsibilities are all affected. This imbalance has created critical gaps that opponents have exploited to gain an advantage in City's penalty area. Likewise, the defensive shortfall has hurt the team's ability to maintain its usual control of the game. Poor pre-match adjustments and weak coordination between center-backs and full-backs have opened up spaces for the opposition, which has led to a noticeable increase in goals conceded. In short, this situation shows a structural problem that undermines both defensive stability and the overall balance of the team, and this is no small matter. The numbers are chilling. At this point in the season, Guardiola's team has already conceded more goals than they did during the entire 2023-2024 season. What happened against Arsenal this weekend not only exposed the club's clear defensive weaknesses, but also raised alarms, as Pep's team seems to have gotten used to conceding 3 or more goals in each match. In just 3 months, opponents have taken full advantage of these weaknesses. Sporting Lisbon scored 4 goals in the Champions League. Tottenham, at one of their worst moments, also conceded 4 goals. Feyenoord scored 3 goals in the Champions League. Paris Saint-Germain added 4 goals. And recently, Arsenal taught them a lesson by sealing the scoreline. It is truly worrying that in only 3 months they have suffered so much, highlighting the urgent need to find structural solutions to reverse this alarming defensive trend. This brings us to the final and most delicate point in City's downfall. Guardiola is not the same. In the match against Arsenal, we saw a repetition of the mistakes made in the game against Chelsea. In the first few minutes, a terrible error by Foden gave the opponent an early goal.
Under a bit of pressure, Arsenal win it back and they're through on goal here and there's a real chance and Odegaard puts it.
Showing a tactical disconnect that left the team vulnerable from the start. The immediate reaction came in the form of a brilliant goal by Haaland as he tried to make up for the disorganization.
Savinho little dink, Haaland's header 1-1.
But the defensive stability soon collapsed again. Another defensive mistake allowed Arsenal to go ahead again.
Partey on the edge of the area and it's gone into the net.
And what followed were 25 minutes of true panic for City. It is the first time we have seen Guardiola's Manchester City perform in such a way, almost as if they were being humiliated. The team seemed to be begging not to concede any more goals, while their own mistakes allowed the opponent to find space and capitalize on it without mercy. This drop in tactical level, and the clear lack of cohesion, along with the inability to change course during the game, raised serious doubts about the evolution of Guardiola's approach. Frustration was evident in every play, making it clear that the team is no longer performing at the level that was once expected. A real shame for what City used to offer. It's heartbreaking to see Pep Guardiola in the situation he is in right now. The self-inflicted injuries, the breakup in his personal life, and the poor performance of his team all add to the players' lack of courage. They don't even show the determination to press or chase the ball. All of this puts Guardiola in a very difficult position. As Thierry Henry said, it is hard and sad to watch Pep's situation. The pressure, both personal and professional, has made him very vulnerable. The team's inability to react as one, along with constant criticism and an unstable environment, is hurting not only the team's performance, but also the coach's reputation, once a symbol of tactical excellence for so many years. This period is one of the darkest and most challenging moments in the career of one of modern football's most successful coaches. We have already pointed out that Rodri's absence greatly affects the team's stability, that the heavy reliance on Haaland in attack is devastating, that the defensive issues have reached absurd levels, and that Guardiola's tactical decisions have been questionable. But there is one more factor, an unavoidable reality in today's Premier League that has also decisively affected the Sky Blues. It isn't just the traditional big rivals like Liverpool or Arsenal. Today, teams such as Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, and even Chelsea, led by managers with clear vision, significant financial resources, and a strong competitive identity, have become top-level opponents. This evolution in competition has deeply impacted Manchester City. Think about it. Even though City has made huge mistakes, the quality and determination of the league's teams have reached an unprecedented level. The fear that once intimidated City's rivals has disappeared, and now opponents know all too well the weaknesses of Guardiola's team. This combined effect could signal the end of an era of absolute dominance in England. Just as it happened during Jose Mourinho's time, it seems the Premier League has finally caught up with Pep Guardiola, showing that the competition is no longer what it used to be. In short, Manchester City's crisis is not only the result of internal issues, but also of an environment that is becoming more demanding and competitive. Opponents have learned to exploit the team's weaknesses, which points to a change in the battle for dominance in English football. Now Manchester City faces a very challenging schedule. Their calendar includes crucial matches such as the visit to Tottenham, a clash against Premier League leaders Liverpool, and always a tough series against Real Madrid. Although, in theory, the match with the Merengues might seem like a safe bet, the reality is that both teams are going through difficult times. Despite City's internal crisis, with Rodri absent and over-reliance on Haaland, defensive problems, and Guardiola's questionable tactical decisions, its Champions League rivals have also shown weaknesses. However, teams that have historically been competitive, like Ancelotti's Real Madrid, prove that even the favorites can struggle in moments of instability. For example, remember the two heavy defeats against Barcelona and the loss to Milan. These games showed that even as leaders, the Merengues do not always prevail when their performance falls below expectations. It is important to note that, despite City's poor run, Real Madrid is not in a better situation to face the Sky Blues. In short, neither Guardiola's team nor Madrid are in their usual form, which adds an even more complex dimension to the competition. This demanding schedule could mark the beginning of the end for Pep if things do not turn out as expected. The matchup between Manchester City and Real Madrid in the UEFA Champions League playoffs promises to be a high-caliber duel, and the winner of that tie will be one that no one will want to face, and no one can discount. The match is set to be explosive due to the recent competitive history between the two clubs. This will be the fifth clash between these teams in the last 9 years, which has led Pep Guardiola to humorously comment that this already looks like a derby. There isn't much to say about Manchester City except that their season has been irregular. They are currently in 5th place in the Premier League and are facing difficulties in the Champions League group stage, barely managing to qualify for the playoffs after a crucial win against Club Brugge. On the other hand, Real Madrid has also had a European campaign below their usual standards, accumulating only 9 points in the group stage, a significant drop compared to last season. Guardiola's Manchester City is known for its possession-based game and high pressing, aiming to dominate midfield and create chances through quick combinations and using wingers to open up spaces. The recent signing of Nico Gonzalez might bring versatility to the midfield, although his adaptation to the team will be crucial. Real Madrid, under Carlo Ancelotti, has shown a mix of experience and youth. Players like Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo have been key in attack, adding speed and unpredictability. The team is lethal on quick transitions and has a solid defense led by experienced figures. Midfield control. The battle in the center of the pitch will be decisive. City's lack of Rodri could weaken their midfield, while Madrid will try to capitalize on this with their blend of youth and experience. Offensive efficiency. Both teams boast elite forwards. The ability to convert chances will be crucial. Erling Haaland of City and Vinicius Jr. of Madrid, or even Kylian Mbappe, will be players to watch. Defensive solidity. Avoiding mistakes in defense will be vital. The team that maintains concentration and minimizes errors will gain a significant advantage. This matchup is one of the most anticipated of the season and could be decided by the smallest details. Real Madrid's European experience contrasts with Manchester City's hunger for continental success. It will be an exciting knockout tie that no football fan will want to miss. Without a doubt, this will be Pep's last chance with City. In this encounter against Madrid, the Sky Blues are playing for more than just a place in the Champions League round of 16. They are fighting for the opportunity to lift the spirits of a team that has been battered. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. With nothing more to say, thank you for your time and see you next time.